TJ, this is one of my favorite things that have been happening over the last couple of days. Oh, you're taking Charlie Kirk's quotes out of context. And I'm like, oh, really? How so? And they're like, he didn't just say this awful thing. For example, the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. He also explained why he thought that, and you didn't include the explanation. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I took his quote out of context. I didn't include the explanation for why he thinks the vile racist thing he thinks.
Yeah, that's the ones that I go to with Kirk, and I want to get to what John said about you're not putting it in the proper context. That's always pretty great because Kirk doesn't. I don't know. There's a few times when I think people have taken Kirk's quotes out of context, and this is being incredibly charitable to Charlie Kirk, because I'm not saying he doesn't believe this, but the way people are using it. One that I've heard them say is that he believes gay people should be stoned to death. And that quote, I can't remember who he's talking to. Is it Miss Rachel? Yeah, it's Miss Rachel. And she's quoting something
directly to her. He was talking
through
the screen to her.
Yes. Yeah. Miss Rachel did not appear on the Charlie Kirk show, ladies and gentlemen. That
would have been hilarious.
Oh, wow. What an event that would have been. No, but Miss Rachel used, I think, a verse in Leviticus saying something about being kind or whatever. And he says, well, the book of Leviticus also says gay people should be stoned to death. And it does, by the way. This verse is one of the many that people who are Christians try to say that the Bible doesn't actually say that gay people should be stoned to death. It says that because the verse is, if a man lies with a man, he shall be stoned to death. And they say that, well, it actually means in the original language, if a man lies with a boy. No, it doesn't. No, it means if a man lies with a man. And Kirk actually gave the same defense that I give for that, is that a few chapters later, it specifies that both individuals are to be put to death. So unless you're saying that God is protecting children from a sexual assault by having them stoned, it doesn't really make any sense. But the other ones that don't really fit or be fixed with the context test is that, yeah, he said the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. He said it many times. There's a clip many times.
He genuinely 100% believe.
Yes, and on one show he says, I think we talk about this every week about how I think the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. And he said that his explanation for it is that it caused white people to be resentful and that it was used as an anti-white weapon. That was it.
He also said, TJ, by the way, that it was extended to women as well, and that goes against the intent of what it should have been.
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
Never been for all people. Should have just been for black people.
Oh, I hadn't heard that one. See, it doesn't get any better. Nothing he says gets any better. He also stated that the ones, I would like Mark, if he's still listening, or anyone out there who defends Charlie Kirk, the statement where he said, marauding blacks, like his actual term was marauding blacks are wandering around towns looking to kill whites. What do we have here?
Colby asked, TJ, I was looking through my favorite quotes and I wanted to ask you, how often do you find yourself prowling around targeting white people?
Oh, that's right. We're just talking about that. Exactly. Yeah. So his is like marauding blacks are wandering around town looking for whites to kill. And this is a growing problem in this country. It is a major concern. No, the fuck it isn't. Okay. No, it's not. And then anybody could point to cases that happen, right? And then he gets like, well, listen, and for someone who spends an inordinate amount of time talking about black crime and black culture, why do you think he's doing this? I made a video where I mentioned that I thought Charlie Kirk was one of the most prolific racists of all time, and it's really sad that we lost a great one like this. And I can't tell you how many comments I received from people saying, I can't believe you're supporting this happening to someone, which is something I never said. Then they said, well, you got this gleeful tone. Oh, so you read between the lines and figured out what I meant, even though I didn't directly say it. But you can't do it with Charlie Kirk, who spends hours every single week talking about how dangerous black people are. He was trying to start a race war. We didn't even talk about the topic of whatever happened in North Carolina, where the black man murdered a white girl. He was setting that up. Also, the other indefensible one was the black pilots one. And he says, no possible chance. And I would dare anybody to tell me why this is acceptable, in which he said, if I get on a plane and I see a black pilot, I can't help but wonder, wow, is this person qualified? And the reason it's indefensible is that conservatives like to paint this DEI thing, is that unqualified people are getting these jobs. That's the whole base of the argument here. And if that were true, that would be a problem. Like having a pilot who didn't pass the qualifications flying a plane would be catastrophic, unimaginable, which is why it doesn't happen. Like the FAA regulations have never changed. The person who flies the plane, both pilots pass the test, and it doesn't matter their race, sex, jet, or whatever. None of that matters. he made this a big deal. He said it all. He would say this stuff all the time. And yeah, Mark, if you're still listening, do you think that's racist? Like, do you think of saying that I'm worried about black pilots and with their qualifications when you know damn well, once again, Charlie Kirk is smart. Charlie Kirk knows what he's saying. He knows what he's doing. And even if somehow those statements don't seem racist, the spider web effect where this keeps happening over and over again, I think you can understand why people think this guy was a bigot.
I'm putting a pin in that spider web effect because that's what I want to talk about. I want to specifically talk about the black pilots thing because that's when people will be like, oh, he was, because I've gotten this response from many people of like, oh, he was talking about DEI. And it's like, okay,
yeah.
And they make the same excuse for the comments he made about black women. He was like, Natasha Brown Jackson, Joy Reid, and there was a third black woman, maybe Michelle Obama, he was talking about.
Yeah.
And he said that they only have their jobs because of affirmative action and DEI, and that is no one takes them seriously because they're black women because of that. And it's like, here's the thing: DEI and affirmative action do not, in reality, make black people who are unqualified take the jobs of qualified white people. You might think that, Mark, like that might be something that you believe, but here's the thing, it just isn't true. As TJ just said, there is not a single unqualified black pilot who was given the ability to fly a commercial airliner just because they were black. This is not something that has ever happened. And Charlie Kirk is smart enough to know that. And so by him saying that, him making it a DEI-based argument doesn't absolve him of the racism of saying, when I see a black pilot, I assume that they're unqualified. That's just blatantly racist. When you say, oh, well, Ketanji Brown Jackson, she's a DEI hire, so you know she doesn't have the mental capacity to do the job, so she had to take it from a white person. There's no DEI policy for selecting the Supreme Court. That just factually does not exist. There's not a single DEI, affirmative action, anything that exists to have selected Ketanji Brown Jackson for the Supreme Court. That doesn't make any sense. Like, you can't make that argument. And Charlie Kirk is smart enough that he knows what he's doing. He's spreading this propaganda. Mark said an interesting thing to me. Because he said, yeah, again, it's just the argument that you would use that you're not anti-Semitic. You don't think you are. Are you a demagogue to be rejected? No. And here's the thing, Mark. You're allowed to think that I'm anti-Semitic because of my criticism of Israel. I'm someone who does not want to appear anti-Semitic because I'm not. And I would feel badly if people genuinely thought that I was anti-Semitic. And so I make sure to choose language that specifically does not make me sound anti-Semitic. You can look through all my posts, all of my criticisms of Israel. You will never see me one time say anything as clearly questionably anti-Semitic as every time I see a Jew flying a plane, I get worried. You'll never fucking see that. You will never see that. And you will never see TJ doing that. But Charlie Kirk does that shit all the time because he doesn't care about being seen as racist because he wants the racist to listen to what he's saying. That's the point. That's the point of these dog whistles. And again, these aren't even fucking dog whistles, but like it's kind of what we're getting at here. If you think that my criticism of Israel can be interpreted as anti-Semitism, you have taken more steps to make that claim by far than it would ever take to nail Charlie Kirk as a racist. And it's not even fucking close.